Welcome to the Donnie B Show on the Let's MAGA Locally platform. Hey, today we have a special guest, Kurt Carr of the Joplin Greenhouse and Coffee. I asked Kurt to come on because over the years I've got to know Kurt as somebody that got involved in the local elections not too long ago. I mean, he was probably a lot like me. We just really was too busy working, too busy trying to survive and make money for our family that we just didn't get interested in the school boards, the city councils, the state representatives, the county commissioners. And over the last couple of years, Kurt's shown me a lot. And as we look at what's going on in the world today, we realize, I think our system of government expected us to get involved. They expected us to get involved at the local level. If not, there's going to be people in there that might not think the way you do. So, Kurt, without no further ado, if you don't mind introducing yourself and maybe telling us just a little bit of why you got involved in the local politics, as you might say, or local governance, so it's all yours, Kurt.
Okay, absolutely. My name is Kurt Carr, just a small business owner here in Joplin. About 4.5 years ago, just kind of started to realize that the state and the local levels of politics were affecting us much more than we thought. I've always kind of stood up with followed the national level, presidential stuff, the Congress, that sort of thing, but had never really paid a whole lot of attention to what was going on right here in our cities, counties, and even our state, our Jefferson City legislators and that sort of thing. And so once I started to really dig into it, I realized they impact us, what we do, much more. And then we begin to be distracted, so to speak, by what's going on in Washington and not realizing what's going on right here in our own backyard.
Back during the COVID scare, what really got my interest is when they started coming out with mandates. And as a small business owner, I'm sure those mandates affected you, just like they did lots of people in Joplin.
Absolutely, that was definitely the turning point for me, is when local people began to say that we needed to close our businesses, put masks on, just all these mandates that were coming down from people that are right here in our own backyard, and it just was like, no, this is not right. This is not right.
No, that's not how America was founded, right? Yeah, it's funny because those type of people, you don't really even think about how profound and how important a city council member, when you get some city council members that can decide whether your business stays open or whether it has to close, that's pretty serious,
It is when you have a city council group of 9 people out of 50 some thousand people in the city, and they're dictating this kind of thing. It's not right.
I think me, like you, there's people all over America that's seeing what's going on with our politics at a national level, at a local level, and they're saying, holy crap, we've let this go way too far. We've got to get involved. So the purpose of this interview is so that everyday people that work, that have grandkids, that have kids in school, just like you and I, that we can maybe give them a source of information to know what seats are coming up August 6th. There's an election coming up August 6th for local representatives, and that give them just a little bit of an understanding who's even in the race. We're not here to tell them who to vote for, but give them a resource, one, to who's running, what office are they running for, and where they can go to find out more information. So, Kurt, let's start at the macro level, at the governor level, and kind of work our way down, and then work all the way down into like the county commissioner realm. So for governor, who all do we have running for governor right now?
Well, Governor Parson is terming out, and we have, I believe it's about 8. I got the list here: 3, 6, 9 people that are filed on the Republican side to run for governor. There's maybe 4 of them that I've actually met and know a little bit about, and there's the rest of them I've never really heard of.
What I'd like to talk about, since this is the great thing about, I've reached out to several candidates. I've interviewed Kathy Jo Loy. I've interviewed Tom Ross. I reached out to Randy Kaiser, who's a sheriff. What's funny is a lot of the incumbents, they don't respond. They won't even answer your email or decline an interview. Where so I can't really talk about what I think about them or the discussion that we had. But it seems like the new candidates always want to talk to you because they want to get the word out of who they are.
Yeah,
I found it very interesting.
they're hungry and ready to and eager, and then I
Right?
suppose you wonder how much of that changes whenever if they were to win and get in office. Will that change, or will they
Yeah.
stay that way?
And I think a lot of time it does because they get comfortable when they get into that position. So anyway, out of those folks that you've actually met for governor, can you what struck out with you, or maybe what stands out with you on those that are running? Is there anything in particular that of the four that you met, maybe some of their campaign promises or anything like that?
Um, I,
I'm putting
you know,
you on the spot. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
that's fine. Hey, let's start with our local guy here, Chris Wright, Joplin. I've known
Okay.
Chris for about 2.5 years. He is he's working hard. I mean, he is
Yeah.
hard working. He's all over the state. Him and his wife, they're good people. I believe that he may surprise us and make an impact here.
Right.
Obviously, he's an outsider. He's not got a lot of campaign financing going on, but he's a hard worker. He's a good
Yeah.
guy. Uh,
Yeah. I interviewed Chris, and he was in the Army. I think staff sergeant or E7. I'm not quite sure on his rank, but I think he was just either retiring or getting ready to retire. So he served the country. I met him. He seemed to be very nice guy. So if anybody wants a little bit more information on him, I have an interview. It's posted on magalocally.com, or you can get on our YouTube channel and you can watch that interview. And I know there's Bill Eigels running. I've met him. He was a senator. What's a couple of the other ones that are running?
Jay
Kurt,
Ashcroft,
Jay Ashcroft. I think everybody knows that family dynasty.
that family name. It's his dad was governor, senator, all that type of things. So he's definitely well known. He's currently the Secretary of State of Missouri.
So, just for our audience and listeners to know, once we get done with this interview, I'm going to post a spreadsheet that will have all the candidates, the positions that are we're going to vote on August 6th. So you can get on our website at magalocally.com and you can see at least who's running. So when you go into that voting booth on August 6th, you're not going in blind. And I have interviews on the site. So if you want to get to know the candidates a little better. So the next one in the shoot is Lieutenant Governor. Who do we got running for Lieutenant Governor?
Well, Lieutenant Governor's got a pretty good sized list too. Holly Rader is a terming out senator from southeast Missouri in the Cape Girardeau area, I believe. We have Dave Wassinger. We have Lincoln Huff, which is he's in his second term as senator, and he is in the Senate Appropriations Committee, I believe, is what, and he's out of the Springfield area, Greene County. Paul Berry. Paul Berry's out of St. Louis. He is the nephew of Chuck Berry. Kind of an interesting, and I talked
Oh,
to him.
wow.
He's a he's a good guy. He's a lot of fun to talk to. Tim Baker. Tim has been around quite a few times. I've met with him, and he's a really good guy. He's a county clerk for Franklin County. And Matthew Porter, and I know nothing about Matthew at all.
Okay. So Chuck Berry, you're talking about the legendary singer Chuck
The
Berry.
Chuck Berry, the rock and roll singer, and Paul, he works hard. He's got a lot of neat YouTube videos. If you kind of go on YouTube and look for him, and he's a
Right.
fun guy.
I know you've talked to him on the phone. Has he actually come down to the greenhouse or the
He's
coffee
not
shop?
been to a couple of the events here in Jasper County, but he hasn't actually come to the greenhouse.
Okay. But I know you've been talking to him on the phone, and you said he's a hoot. So he has to be a relative of Chuck Berry.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So who's next on the list?
Secretary of State.
Yep.
You ready to move on to that? Okay.
Yeah. Let's move on.
That's a big list too. We have Valentina Gomez. I believe she is
She's
out
the
of
flamethrower lady, right?
right flamethrower lady. She kind of does everything with a shock and awe factor. I believe is a way to say that. Maybe
Right.
she goes to all the events and really calls things out and pushes the envelope a bit. That's the way I could definitely.
A bit. I think that's being nice.
Shane Scholler. Shane Scholler is Greene County clerk. He's been down here a couple of times and visited. Denny Hoskins. Denny is terming out senator out of Warrensburg, Missouri. I believe Johnson County, I believe, is where he's out of.
I've heard
Uh,
some good things about him. I think he was on the Freedom Caucus as well, right?
he's part of the Freedom Caucus. Yes, he's a good, solid conservative. I think he's done a lot of good things in the Senate.
Yeah, I
Um,
met him at one of Bill Eigel. I think he came down with Bill Eigel down there on Main Street, if I remember
yes,
correctly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's
yeah.
been here at the greenhouse quite a few times and a good guy. Uh, Adam Schwandren. I believe he is a House rep out of maybe the St. Charles County area. Jamie Corley, not familiar with him at all. Dean Plocker, our current Speaker of the House. And
And we all know he's in a lot of turmoil right now.
yeah, he's always in.
He,
Yeah, he's had some
he's been
troubles.
in the headlines.
He's been in the headlines, yes. Mary Elizabeth Coleman. I believe she's out of Arnold, Missouri. She's a current senator, her first term senator right now. And she's the one
It's
that, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, she's the one that carried the IP reform bill that did not make it through. I don't believe that she fought hard enough to make that happen.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of controversy on other YouTube channels about how she dropped some language at the last minute that basically killed it. Is that the way it went? Or
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a weird process, but yes, I think if she'd have done things right, we could have possibly seen some IP reform come down the pike.
all
And
right,
one on the list is Mike Carter. I believe he is an attorney and has like a podcast and kind of in the
not
St. Louis
familiar with him.
area. Kind of popular within that St. Louis area, I believe.
All right, it sounds good. Who's next? What office is next?
For state treasurer, uh, our current treasurer was appointed in 2022. 23 would have taken over by Governor Parson. Vivek Malik, I believe is the way you pronounce that. So he is running again he, he did not get elected the first time. He was appointed by the governor. Um, we have Andrew Koenig, which is a senator out of the St. Louis area, a state senator that's terming out. Andrew, interesting thing there is he's the one that carried the terrible, terrible 167 page Senate Bill 727, the education bill that is going to cost the state a lot of money and it's got a lot of problems with it. Started out as a 12-page bill and overnight went to 167 pages. Um,
Yeah, he pulled a Nancy Pelosi. He dropped
so,
something at the 11th hour.
yeah, he
Yeah, I
did.
remember that guy.
Uh,
Vivek Malik, I believe his name. It wasn't he like a low income housing entrepreneur that I'm trying to
there's
remember. I've heard,
yeah,
I've done
find
some
some
research.
St. Louis Post Dispatch from 2 or 3 years ago, where he owned maybe 200 or more low income properties, rental properties, and it seemed like there was a lot of controversy there. Maybe some things where electricity, no running water, that sort of stuff.
And he was also an immigration lawyer. Isn't that
Immigration,
correct? Yeah,
correct? I believe so. Yeah.
yeah. And I've heard a little bit of controversy on that.
If you do a little digging, you can find a lot of controversy on him. It seems to be some things
I
just
did Google him, but I found two different name spellings
different name
on him, so I
spelling.
didn't know if they're the same person or not.
Yeah, and he had a company called Pacific Consulting, I believe it was, that right after he was appointed, the company was transferred to a sister or someone else. And then if you look at his NBC reports, there's about $2 or $3 million worth of donations from that company to his campaign here fairly recently.
And
And
for
if you,
people that don't know, what's the MEC? Because I had to get schooled on that. So if you want to know where the money's coming from for these candidates, you can look on this MEC report. It's
so
online.
Missouri Ethics Commission, and you go on
Okay.
there and then you search, and you can search for any candidate, whether it's a county, state, city, federal kind of candidates, and then you can track where their donations come from, right down to the
Right.
penny. But it takes some time, it takes some doing, but you can
Now,
find out where they're being funded.
it was either the Missouri Independent, but I've seen some articles come out where how some of these people are bypassing the laws and rules and shifting money through multiple PACs or whatnot. I don't
Yeah,
know. Do you know anything about that?
well, part of it, the campaign financing has maybe some limits on it, depending on the actual uh, position that you're running for your actual campaign. And then the PACs, political action committees that can be set up, really have no, it's kind of a no holds bar type of campaign financing.
Right.
And they'll have the PACs not necessarily tied to their name, but they'll have somebody that they know, and they'll fund things through that, or pay for TV ads or mailers, stuff like that through the PACs, and they can get the giant donations through that.
So that's why it's so hard to really track down where all the money's coming from
Yeah, they
a
don't
lot of
make it
times.
easy. I mean, you can
Yeah,
track it. It's definitely a difficult thing to do.
that's where I think more transparency in government really needs to come in. Let's make it clear for everybody to see who's backing who and how much money are they throwing at candidates.
Absolutely.
Secretary of State.
That is, let's see, we were working on treasurer, and we had Andrew.
I'm
We have
sorry, Treasurer. Yeah.
Lori Rook. Lori is an outsider. I've met with her many, many times, and
Yeah, I've met with her as well.
she's
Yeah.
from Springfield. She's an attorney, self-funded in her campaign. Her campaign has probably the least amount of money, but she is definitely working hard. She's all over the state. I know that she's rented an RV just recently, so she could just stay out and go county to county. She's definitely put a lot of work into it. She's has a just a good heart, and I really really do like her.
Yeah, she was pretty much straightforward. I know she's an attorney for elder law, and she has an office like 7, I think, in the state of Missouri. I know she has one in Joplin, Springfield, and several other places throughout the state. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's a go getter. I mean, if she loses, it's not because she didn't. She's probably outworked everybody else in the she's running against because she is
Oh,
on
I
the road.
agree with the outworking. She definitely has done that, and and her whole campaign is run on transparency,
Yep.
and that's the kind of things that are right up your and I alley. We want
Right.
transparency.
She told me that if she gets elected, she's going to put up a website where anybody can get onto and see where every penny's going
Yeah, funding that with her own money.
with their own money. Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's
that'll be interesting. That's what we need. We need transparency.
yeah.
So who else is in that one?
We have Cody Smith. Cody is the chair of the budget committee in the House. He is terming out this year. He is a local guy from Carthage, and he's running for this treasurer office as well.
I've never met Cody Smith. I listened to him speak at a Eggs and Issues event, but other than that, I don't have any input on Cody Smith. I've never met him. So
Yeah.
who's next? Is that it?
That is it in that. The next one is the Attorney General. We have two people running for that. Will Scharf. Will is an attorney out of the St. Louis area. I've talked to Will often. He's an interesting fella. He's worked for the Trump attorney. He's one of Trump attorneys, and has worked with a lot of his things that have been going on over the last year or so. He was an attorney for the three different judges, Supreme Court judges that Trump appointed, worked on their team. Very, very smart guy, and he works it pretty good. He's all over the
Yeah.
state, and he has I believe a good heart for what he's wanting to do. And then we have our
I
current.
met.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Well, I met him at the Lincoln days, I believe it was. Very polite. You can tell he works. He's a worker, and yeah, he was talking about what I've seen on TV locally. There's a bunch of smear campaigns on him. I've seen some pretty tough TV commercials that are just smearing his name.
Well, he's an outsider as far as politics is concerned, and the establishment is going to attack him pretty hard for that.
I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then our current
Okay.
attorney general is Andrew Bailey. He
Right.
was appointed and took office in 2023 January for Eric Schmidt, that had been our attorney general and won the election to the U.S. Senate. Governor Parsons appointed him. I've never really met him. I've heard him speak a couple times, and that's about it.
People have just been appointed that haven't been elected.
Yeah, we don't like that. We need to.
We need to elect. That's why people got to get out and vote. And when you only have like a 20% or 12, I don't know what the voting. Do you have any statistics on how many people are getting out and voting typically right now?
I think generally in a primary, it's pretty low,
Yeah.
anywhere from 12 to 15% of the
Yeah.
registered voters. It's
Yeah.
really
So
low.
now we need to change that. Everybody needs to get out on August 6th and vote for those. Get to
Yeah.
know them.
It's a week
Do a
from
Google
tomorrow.
search, whatever you got to do. Get to know them. You got 1 week to figure out who you're going to vote for and who's going to be making decisions for you and your family. So, all right, who's next, Kurt?
In the next race, we have our Congress for 7th District, Southwest Missouri. Currently, Congressman Eric Burleson is running as the incumbent, and he has, I think, 3 challengers. The top 2, Camille Olive and Audrey Richards. I've seen their name a lot. I think every time there's election, they file to run for something, and so
Right.
I've heard both of them speak, and I think it's just odd that it's almost like they're just there to get their name in front of somebody. I'm not really sure.
You said besides Burleson?
Camille Olive and
Camille
Audrey
Olive.
Richards.
Autumn Rich.
I
Okay.
think one of them is out of the Springfield area, maybe one out of Branson.
Hmm.
I've met Audrey, and what I remember was back in 2020 of her posting a lot of things on the street corner with a big sign, wear a mask, wear your mask.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Well, I'm out on that one.
yeah, that answers that one, right?
Yeah. The only time I've ever had the opportunity to meet Congressman Burleson was at Senator Carter's Night for the People, and he led the prayer to start off that program. And I found him. He spoke well. It seems like he's definitely pro-Trump, so he seems like he's doing well up there in D.C. from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he does well. So he usually
Okay.
stops in whenever he's in Joplin and says hi. So, that's it. I think on the state level, we're kind of down to the county, and we have Newton and Jasper County, where we're right here, kind of on the verge of both counties, so we can talk through a few of them
Okay.
if you want
Start
to.
wherever.
Well, we'll do county commissioners for Jasper County. We have
Okay.
Western District, and it includes it's basically Joplin and part of Carl Junction, and maybe a little bit of Webb City, but I think it's mainly just Joplin. And there's 4 names on the list there. We have James Pierce, we have Ed Scorse, Mike Landis, and Mike Woolston. Mike Woolston was a former councilman in Joplin, mayor of Joplin. He was the mayor during the tornado, and I think he did
Right.
a good job of helping lead the city through that.
And actually, I just did an interview with him Friday.
Okay.
So yeah, if anybody wants to know a little bit why Mike's running or some information about him, you can go to magalocally.com or our YouTube channel. And we did about a 25-minute interview with him. So you can get more information on him there.
Good. Mike Landis, well-known name in Joplin. His dad was a builder, and it's a well-known name. He's been on the school board. I believe he worked for Congressman Bentley Long for a while as a field rep. So that's the four guys for the Western County or Western
Okay.
District. We have Mark Lashley, Alan Snow, Drew Evans, and Tom Flanagan. Tom is currently the commissioner there, so he's the incumbent. And I really don't know the other three. I apologize for that. I've met Alan Snow a couple of times, but other than that, I don't have anything to say necessarily about him.
You're doing better than I am because I know none of them.
Yeah, to do the research, just need to go to, and I don't live in Jasper County, so
Well, I do, and I feel bad.
yeah. So maybe check out their websites, Facebook pages, reach out to
Right.
them, try to find something. We got a week to do that. For Jasper County Treasurer, I believe the current treasurer is retiring. We have Vanessa Burton and Shannon Carricker. And I believe Shannon is currently the deputy treasurer. So she's obviously bringing with her some experience in the office already. I don't really know either one of them, but that's the two that are running for the Jasper County treasurer.
I'm the same. I don't know either one of them.
Yeah. For local state rep in the Carthage area, this would include the far eastern side of Joplin, like from Davis Boulevard and east and into Carthage. We have that's District 163. We have Zach Hatcher and Kathy Jo Loy running for them spots. That is currently Cody Smith's spot that he's turned out of. I don't know Zach, but I do know Kathy, and I know that she is working hard. She's knocking doors every single day, whether it's hot, raining, or whatever. And I know she's definitely worked hard for this job.
You're the one. I think I was at the coffee shop one time, and you introduced me to Kathy Jo, and she is a hard worker, and she's passionate about education, education of our children. I mean, and the crime. She's we're all concerned about this uptick in mentally ill and drug addicted that's roaming our streets, which is leading to other things within our communities. But, I interviewed Kathy Jo. It's probably been 3 months ago or so when she first put her hat in the ring. Yeah, she's a hard worker. So I'll give her that to her. And I like what she stands for. So and I don't know the other guy. So I can't comment one way or the other. I can only talk about who I've met and who I know. So,
and then I think finally in the Jasper County area, for state rep District 161, which is basically just the greater Joplin area. And in case anybody wants to know, the House reps are divided up by population. It's roughly about 35,000 population to a district, and so Joplin being 55,000, and it's not quite all of Joplin, but basically the greater part of Joplin. Our current rep is Lane Roberts, and he's being challenged by Thomas Ross. I don't know much about Lane. I've really never visited with him a whole lot. Thomas is somebody that I have talked to. I mean, I've known him for 2 or 3 years now. I know he's working hard. He's got a good heart. He has a passion for wanting to bring change, and really does care about the people, I think.
A bit about Lane Roberts. He used to come into our restaurant regularly when he was the police chief of Joplin. I know he hails from Portland, Oregon. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know. You're coming from Portland, but
what do you bring with you?
What's that?
What do you bring with you when you come from
What
Oregon?
are you bringing with you from Portland, Oregon, right? And I've talked to him a few times, and I tried to ask some pointed questions, but I never got a pointed answer. I kind of got a roundabout answer. And, we're in Missouri, we're in a show me state. You ask a question, you want a direct answer. You know what I mean? And I did interview Thomas Ross. And Thomas Ross, I think he brings a lot of energy and he has a passion for helping people.
Definitely.
And like I said, his interview's on our site. So if you want to get to know him a little bit better. And I think his wife is a local doctor here in the area.
Yes.
I think so. I've never met her, but he seemed very friendly. And he's out everywhere I go. He's out putting up signs and shaking hands. So he's working hard at it.
Yeah, definitely is.
Okay.
I will jump over to the Newton County side. Newton County Commissioner, we have two districts there, District 1 and District 2. For District 1, which is, it's got South Joplin included in it, I believe Diamond and Granby, kind of the northern part of Jasper, or of Newton County. We have Raleigh Ritter, Mark Knight, and John Hurd. Raleigh is a businessman from Seneca area. I believe he's on maybe the Seneca School Board. He has run for a lot of offices over maybe I don't remember, 2018 or 20. Anyway, a few years ago, he ran for governor. He's run for some other, maybe county auditor a couple of years ago in Newton County. That's really kind of all I know about Raleigh. Mark Knight. Mark is a retired businessman, lives maybe down around Granby area. He's a good guy. He's been on the school board at East Newton for a lot of years, and I don't think he is now currently. And then we have John Hurd. John lives in South Joplin, and he is on the current Joplin School Board. And John's I've met John a few times, and he's seems like a pretty good, upstanding guy too. I mean, I think any one of these guys would probably do a good job.
Any of them. So, guys, credits for putting their hat in the ring because being a politician these days isn't the most glamorous position in the world right now.
No, you're putting the target on your back. I think when you do that, for sure.
For sure, that's for sure.
A few years ago, it probably wasn't that way, but as people began to wake up after kind of the COVID was really woke up a lot of people, I think. So
right.
On the District 2 Newton County Commissioner, we have two. We have Mark Bridges and Rob Bruner. Rob, I believe, is kind of from that southeast part of Newton County. I've met him a couple of times and seems like a really good guy. I think he could probably do a good job at that commissioner's job. Mark Bridges is somebody that's well known in Newton County. He's been coroner, I believe, a sheriff at one point a few years ago, well respected and well known in Newton County. So I think either one of them would do a good job for the county.
I'm not real familiar with any of them.
And finally, Newton County, we have the sheriff. Our current sheriff is retiring due to some health issues. And we have two candidates running for that position. Matt Stewart. Matt's name probably in Joplin's well known. He was a former police chief. He's worked for a few years now, I believe, with the Children's Center. And he's currently Seneca School Board. Matt's a good guy. And then we have Rick Geller. And Rick is currently the chief deputy, second in command, basically, for Newton County. And I tell you, I did a Newton County deputy ride-along a couple of weeks ago on a Friday night. We got to see some interesting stuff and see what them guys go through. And they all had nothing but good things to say about the current command staff at the sheriff's office. So so I think Rick could do a fantastic job.
Again, I think that was for the people or Lincoln days. I got to meet him, and then I talked to him once or twice at the coffee shop. He do a meet and greet. or no?
I think he's attended a couple of them, maybe not one yet.
Attend, maybe I think he did attend. Yeah, that's where I met him in the audience. I think that's. But
Yeah,
he seemed like a really, really down to earth guy, uh, qualified. So
yeah, yeah. We did a meet and greet for Lori Rook, that's running for state treasurer, and I believe he was here. That's
okay.
probably about him. Yeah.
And Matt Stewart, I've heard the name. I think I've seen him in passing, but I've never had any face to face conversations with him. So really don't have a comment on him. I heard he's a nice guy.
Yeah. That kind of wraps it up, I think. Is there anything else?
That does it.
Did
Did
I
we
miss something?
do? Did we do Jasper County Sheriff?
Oh, no, we did not. We skipped over that one. Our current sheriff, Randy Kaiser, is being challenged by Ethan is from Carthage. I believe, let's see, he's maybe a detective on the Carthage Police Department. Young guy, full of passion, has a pretty good message. I mean, things that he wants to bring change in the county, and I think he's worked very hard at what he's doing.
And then,
Didn't
so I
you?
reached out.
Did,
I did interview Ethan Snow maybe again 3 months ago. So his stuff's on our website. What I found interesting about him, he's an Air Force veteran. He was not saying not MP, but it's law enforcement for the Air Force. I can't remember the exact title he had. Um, and he was well spoken. He had some good ideas about a drug task force. He's really down. He seems to be wanting to target drug use and the selling of drugs in our community, which, hey, I'm all about that. It's destroying our community. You walk down the street, you see zombies. I saw a guy in front of Walmart just spaced out of his mind, and he went into Walmart, and I talked to the ladies, and they said, "Oh yeah, he just stole something." And I said, "Well, did you call the police?" He says, "Yeah, but they won't do anything, and they know these people." And we just can't allow this to keep continuing in our community. I mean, if people need mental help, we need to get them mental help. If they have a serious drug addiction, we need to get them into rehab. They cannot live on our streets uh, addicted to drugs and mentally ill. It's just not safe for them, and it's not safe for the community.
absolutely.
Randy Kaiser, I reached out to him on Facebook. I sent him an email. I got no response. So, from what I've observed, he's done a good job in Jasper County. He just never responded to me. So, again, these incumbents, I don't know, maybe he didn't like my name or something. I don't know.
Is it entitlement? Is that what once they're there they feel entitled, or
Or maybe I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. They're not hungry, I guess, to speak to anybody that wants to interview them. I guess if you're KSN or, maybe my channel, MAGA Locally, Make America Great Again, might have scared him off. I don't know. So, well, Kurt, I appreciate you taking this time. I kept thinking, man, I wish the years past, I wish I had like a sheet of paper that would say, these are all the people. That way I could at least look them up. So that's what we're going to try to do today. I'm going to get that spreadsheet. I'm going to post it on our website. And like I said, there's several interviews of people that are running if you want to get on there. Kurt, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy today. It's Monday. So thank you. And if you need anything, or if you want to get back on sometime, let me know.
all right? Thank you, Donnie.
Thanks, Kurt. Have a good day.
You too.